Hey man,
What's up,
well,
dude?
how's it been? Long time no speak.
Yeah. Good. I kind of I've been doing the filming stuff for work. Um,
Okay.
so I've been busy with that. And I kind of took a little time off of racing just because the prices were getting like out of control for gear. With like the chip
Yeah.
shortage and all this. So yeah, I was just like, oh my god, like stacks were like $150, and just like it just got to the point where I just got tired of spending that much money and for like a racing fleet. Um,
Yeah. I hear you. Yeah.
but yeah, now I'm like kind of getting back into it. We're doing Mayhem next month, so we're building out our fleet we're on a Din Drones team. Din Drones, and so we're all building his frame with the Lucid stack. And
Okay.
yeah, he was the one that first turned me onto it. Um, and I just loved it, man. I thought it was so innovative and can't beat the price. You know, the performance. I've flown it. I flew it. I've flown it 2 practice sessions, and it's just like on rails. Matched with that OZR frame and that stack, it's just like crazy. The OZR frame. Have you seen that? I'm sure you've seen that. It's like,
No, I don't. To be honest, I'm so busy these days. I'm like fully into wings at the moment.
oh, sick.
Because we're gonna be doing some more stuff. Like we just released one wing, and there's more coming. So like that's my 100% focus at the moment. I'm like completely zoned out from anything that's going on social media and whatever.
Um, well, it's the frame is designed around the gorilla mounting, which is cool. So I think it's the first
Oh, okay.
racing frame
All
that
right.
is made for your stack.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, there's more coming. I know of that.
yeah, for sure, for
Um,
sure. Let's see.
but again, I haven't seen any of them.
Yeah. So let's see. Your video keeps cutting out. I don't know if that's. Anyways, yeah. So that's the frame we're flying, and I did a little build video last week with the stack, and it was super easy. But I just wanted to like just catch up with you and chat about kind of the design of this thing because it's pretty sweet, like the gorilla mounting. And I know it's for, you know, it's a performance based decision, right? The having the FETs closer to the solder pads is like is the key.
Yeah, and just the symmetry of it because the motors kind of behave it's kind of like the weakest link in the chain type of thing. So if the power delivery is not symmetrical to each of the phases of the motor or to each of the motors in the stack of four, then you kind of lose out on the power delivery.
Okay. Yeah, I've only flown it on the Mayhem spec, which is like it's a RPM limiter, like 24,000 RPM.
Hmm.
So I haven't opened it up on a full like 6S pack yet, but I'm pretty excited. I'm gonna wait till after Mayhem. Um, to,
The only thing actually that's limiting, like we have an 8S ESC, which
yeah,
we made with the 30 by 30. So the only thing that's limiting you from going like 8 or 12S are the caps. So like the fats can do way more than what we're rating it for. And that's partially
interesting.
probably also why like people are having problems blowing them up, except for people who are having troubles with soldering them. So that's
Yeah.
that's that's one thing that we still have to tackle.
Um, yeah. Another thing I was thinking, like durability wise, um, since the traditional like racing frames, the stack screws kind of go through the arms, right? So it's a breaking point. If you slam into like a conduit gate, snap your arm. I've cracked like ESCs in half, which is like insane, but it happens. And so I'm hoping with this, the way at least with the OZR frame is the ESC is mounted on its own little, it's mounted on the bottom plate, but it's not structural, so it's just kind of chilling there.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, we'll break way less ESCs just from like crashes. Um, and just overall durability wise, with the way the FETs are, I'm sure that helps, reduce the
There are several advantages to not mounting your high power electronics to structural components.
yeah,
Let's just put it that way.
yeah. So that'll be nice. I've got like a whole graveyard of
Yeah.
ESCs in my garage, like every racer does. Um, but yeah, so the ESC, love it, and then you guys have the FC, so that you get the Lucid stack. Um, F7. Thank you for putting a USB-C on it. Appreciate you. Appreciate
But
it.
we're using the AT32s on the 20 by 20 Lucid.
Uh huh.
And that's kind of like part of, like, we had the same issues, right? When COVID happened, STM32s just went through the roof.
Yeah.
And then the whole AT32 was like godsend, right? So we instantly like jumped on that train and try to be one of the first. We weren't the first, but one of the first to embrace AM32, and then also the AT32s.
Yeah, I was a little worried with the AM32. I was like, oh, is this gonna be good? We're so used to BL Heli for years. But yeah, it seems to work fine. The setup was easy. There's a little web GUI that you use. Um, so yeah, I like the sound actually. The tones are a little more pleasing.
Yeah, I know Pete, like the guy behind AM32, pretty well. And I also knew in proxy, like we worked with Stefan before from BL Heli 32. Um, but yeah, it was just kind of like a spur of the moment decision to back AM32. It was recommended by like the Betaflight developers,
Was this
and that's how.
before BL Heli went away?
Yeah.
Oh
So we
wow.
actually launched two weeks after BL Heli went away.
Okay.
So we spent like 6 or 8 months developing the
You're like
ESC,
nice.
and we launched. Yeah, well, people were like, "What the fuck? Like, how were you this fast?" And I was like, "No, man, this
Oh, so you
this
didn't
was
you didn't
not
have an inside
calculated.
scoop or
This
anything?
Nothing. No,
Wow,
no.
that's luck.
It came incredibly unexpected. I mean, it's a loss for the FPV industry, right?
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
but yeah, the same thing also happened, or I mean, not the same thing, but APD also stopped selling it to FPV,
Yeah,
so we kind of lost like two of the dominant ESC code or providers, software
yeah.
providers.
Well, you use
Um,
APD for like heavy lift stuff, right? Or do you use it for any wing stuff? Or
we use the APDs for our wings, yeah,
yeah,
and obviously, like, we were their distributor, so we sold quite a bunch of
right.
those into like the cinelifters and
Yep.
like the cinematography in general, like have like real heavy rigs. I mean, they made like 200 amp
Right. No,
ESCs,
yeah, I
which
have some
were
of those on my
super
X class
popular.
rig, but
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, they're pricey. Are you guys gonna do any like a Cinelifter stack down the road? Or is that in the works or?
Well, we just released the PDB, which does, I think, 400 amps or 500 amps on like 20S or whatever. Then we have the 12S 100 amp ESCs, or I think they're rated up to 120 amps for like burst. So we already do kind of have something in that area. Plus, we do recommend the H7. There's a Lucid H7 flight controller on the 30 by 30 mount. So that's kind of what we recommend for
Oh,
cinelifters.
nice. Okay, yeah.
Um, yeah.
There she is. Yeah, this I don't know, something about this FC. It feels so light. Like I don't know if I'm just tripping, but it feels way lighter than, than my other FCs.
It actually it was a little bit too thin, so we went it 1 millimeter. I think we're upgrading it to 1.2 or 1.4 millimeters now.
Okay, so this the one I
That
have is probably a little
I'm
thinner than normal.
Yeah, no particular reason why we're updating it. It's just like um just whenever you can increase the durability, it's generally recommended. Plus, it'll be able to take more heat.
Oh,
Um,
cool, cool.
because the new ones that we're selling, they're rated for 8S.
Okay.
So officially, like on the website, we haven't changed yet because there's still some legacy stock out with dealers and stuff. Um, but like with the wing that we're selling, we're already shipping like special 8S versions of it, and yeah, so
Cool.
so they'll actually be able to do 8S pretty soon.
Nice.
Not the ESCs though. Okay, like the caps on the ESCs are not rated for 8S.
Okay, okay. Cool, man. Yeah. Yeah. I just wanted to catch up with you and give you a shout out for this stack because it kind of got me back into racing, honestly.
That's good to
Because
hear.
it's affordable and I've heard good things about the durability. So that's like those are like the two main things that I look at when I'm
Yeah,
trying to build out a
I mean
fleet.
the main issue where we see people having trouble is they're ripping off the pads, and that only happens if you like overheat the pads. So usually, like with a bad soldering iron, bad soldering tip, and then they have to apply heat for too long, it delaminates the epoxy,
Oh,
and
like
then
on
and then
the motor pads.
motor
Okay.
pads, and mainly on the power pads actually, because just it's more the issue is more how to say it's more serious there.
Yeah.
We always see the ground pads ripping off, so that's how we know, because the ground pad has a bigger heat sink,
Yeah.
and therefore it's a bad soldering tip. But we're working on that. Like we're adding additional vias and castellations and all that stuff down the line. But
What's the ideal
yeah, if you
temperature for soldering the the ESC? Would you say?
um,
I usually go to like
well
850.
the I don't know what that is in Celsius and rest of the world. So like we recommend 420
Ooh.
Celsius
Uh huh.
because 420 is always a good number, right? Um, but it's not that much about the peak temperature. It's about how long you stay on it. So like you should be able to like liquefy the entire solder within 10 seconds,
Hmm.
and then put also like you basically heat up the wire first, and then you have the wire on top of the soldering iron, you apply heat to the pad, and then you pull out the soldering iron and then quickly tap on top of it to
Sure.
kind of like melt it in. That's the most tricky part, I guess. That's where most people go wrong. Like they'll put the wire on top, they like put a lot of heat into the wire, and
They're
then
probably
they push
using
it down.
some like cheap iron that like just plugs into the wall and then like some
Yeah,
lead free solder.
yeah. I mean, you don't actually have to use leaded solder. We use lead-free solder here in production, but
Okay.
we have like a serious soldering tip
Yeah.
with like I think it's like a 200-watt iron. So we pump a lot of heat quickly into it, which then doesn't saturate the heat as much into the pads and then cause delamination.
Okay. Yeah. Because I
Yeah, so
sometimes I'll get like electronics that are from the factory and they're like lead free and I cannot get the like my I have a Hacko, I have a good iron, it just cannot get the solder off. It's funny.
yeah. Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah, it's all about the good tools, man.
Oh, I
Buy
know.
cheap, buy twice, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's
Well,
you know.
with this stack, you buy cheap and buy once.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it's not. I wouldn't say it's cheap, but it's affordable, and it was engineered for being affordable, right? So we didn't put cheap components in it. We just used affordable components. So like,
No, yeah,
if you
yeah,
compare the F7 AT32 to the F7 or to the equivalent STM32, you're talking about like a factor of five price difference, right?
yeah.
So yeah, same with the MOSFETs. I mean, you can go with what are they called, Infineon MOSFETs, and pay like $4 a piece.
Yeah.
At I think 24 pieces per ESC or some weird
Oof.
number, you know. Or you can get like Chinese made ones. And but then you just have to you have to know what you're buying and how you're utilizing the rest of the circuit along with the MOSFETs. Just because Infineon is like I don't know. It's like the Tesla um of the electric vehicles, I would say.
Okay.
And then you can get better vehicles, but at cheaper price. But you have to know which one it is, right? So yeah,
Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
yeah,
Affordable. Yes, not cheap.
yeah.
Yeah, I was just looking on like other stores and like other stacks right now are like 120, 130. So, um,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, we got them all beat, which was a surprise to me because like TBS usually is not known for being cheaper than, the rest of
Yeah.
the providers.
Yeah.
But we also did invest quite heavily into uh manufacturing it ourselves. So there's less people in the loop.
Nice. Okay.
It's a more direct supply chain.
Oh, so you guys are
So yeah,
manufacturing quite a bit of this in house, or what?
everything,
Everything?
pretty much, yeah, everything that says
Wow.
TBS, we're
Cool. Cool.
manufacturing it in house. Like
Nice.
I think there's one product, the fusions that we're not making in house, and but we've just moved that in house, and then there was the Nano VTX, the tiny VTX, the tiny one. We're still not making that in house yet.
Cool.
Um, but everything else like Crossfire, Tangos, ESCs, flight controllers. There's going to be a whole host of sensors coming up for flight controllers, like more geared towards like autopilot stuff. But also all of that is made in house. So yeah, we've been
Sick.
busy.
Yeah. Cool, man. It's good to hear. Yeah. You guys have always been really supportive of drone racing and VRL and Velocity Drone Racing, and you guys are sponsoring us this season, so we appreciate it. And you guys have honestly
Yeah.
been the longest running. I mean, you guys were our first sponsor when I started VRL like 6 years ago, or whatever it was. So
Yeah, it was VRL and multi GP. That's who we support.
yeah.
And we try to stay loyal.
Are you gonna try to make it to IO this year? I know you haven't been in a bit, but I know it's a long journey.
I wasn't able to go last time because my wife had a medical issue and I had just gotten married, so that was not something that I could, weasel my way out
Yeah.
of. So I should be able to make it this year. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I plan on being there, but the last 2 years my travel has gotten just totally wrecked. So we'll see what happens. It's always hard to get into the Midwest.
Are you still in California?
Yeah, I'm in California, so I have to, flying out to the Midwest in the summer. It's like there's always like crazy weather events that could just derail your travel.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
2 years ago, I got stuck in Houston airport for like 40 hours. That was fun. That was the day that United, like the historic day that like United Airlines, basically like all their flights got canceled.
Was that the CrowdStrike thing or?
I don't think it was a strike. It was like a technical. It was like a.
Yeah, CrowdStrike,
Oh,
the company, like the security company that had like
yes, yeah. It was
some
horrible,
kind of like
dude. It
technical
was
malfunction.
horrible, bro. I don't know if you've ever slept in an airport for like a day and a half, but it's not fun.
I have, well, not a day and a half. I've slept in there once, but you start to smell after a day, and then you gotta still get in on an airplane.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. So
Yeah.
hopefully this year I'm gonna try to not have a connection. That's the trick. Yeah, don't connect through
Yeah,
Chicago or Houston, and
that's
you'll be good.
yeah, yeah.
Sweet, man.
All
Well,
right,
yeah.
man. Cool.
Hopefully I'll see you there.
All right, cool. See you at IO, man.
All right,
Bye.
bro. Take care. Bye.
FX 21.5.